I began this whole process of cooking the juicy roasted chicken by brining the chicken, which was the longest part of the whole process, but completely worth it. During the brining, the solution of salt water on the outside of the cell walls of the chicken is less concentrated than the inside, so the water moves inside to balance concentration. I brined my chicken for 3 hours exactly, and it was extremely juicy because of this. It worked very well. I was honestly surprised at how well the brining worked. The chicken got so much thicker, like it looked like it had just gained a pound of weight. And you can really tell it in the legs portion how it really swelled up from it taking in the water. So it worked really well. Sorry guys, I didn't take a picture of the chicken. I even threw away the packaging before I could even see what the name of it was, but it was 6.46 pounds. I do remember that. So it was a little bit bigger than what the recipe called for, which is why I think it took a little bit longer to cook. The stock consisted of 1 onion, 1 end of celery, like the leaves, 2 sage leaves, 2 thyme sprigs, 1 quart of water, and I did it for 2 hours. This was my favorite part because it smelled so amazing while it was cooking. When I was starting this, I started brining at 1 p.m. and then I started my stock just a little bit before 2 p.m. and I completed both of them at 4 p.m. So it worked out pretty well to be able to do both of them at the same time, like the book suggested. The stuffing consists of 1 onion, 2 celery stalk ends, 8 sage leaves, and 8 thyme sprigs, 1 small orange, and 1 bay leaf. Once the brining was done and I rinsed all the salt off, I rinsed it really, really well, I started to stuff the chicken cavity with the remaining ingredients. The cavity wasn't huge, it didn't seem like, so did a little bit of real stuffing, and the onions, a little bit of the onions didn't make it, but I got everything else in there pretty well, so it worked out well. As you can see, a little bit of stuffing. Sorry about the video. It was moving. We use corn syrup with the butter to baste because it helps with browning the bird faster. After making the base, to keep it from getting hard again, I kept it on the top of the oven, and that kept it plenty warm to stay liquid. I also opted to baste everything but 1 leg of the chicken as indicated in the picture. I show my little line. When the chicken is laying breast down in the oven, so like through the first picture, the unbasted leg is going to be on the left, just for reference. I basted the bird with the drippings after roasting for 7 minutes twice. Sorry for the poor quality of the video. Basting and holding the phone and trying not to burn myself all at the same time was not the easiest thing to do. I still did try to avoid to baste the left leg. I basted around it, and like I said, I did this twice. When it came to having to cook 1 leg versus the other, I had to be a little MacGyver about it. I used a glass lid to hold the chicken up one side versus the other. It actually worked really well. It was in this initial browning that gives the chicken its brown color. I had to turn down the chicken to cook it at a much lower temperature after doing each side. Yeah, look at that base. After cooking both legs for 10 minutes on my makeshift V-rack, after flipping and basting again with the butter mixture, the unbasted is now on the right side of the bird, just for reference. This is where the countdown begins. I basted and took the temperature every 5 minutes. My thermometer is a meat thermometer, so I left it in the bird. I put it in there, did not take it out, so I could have an accurate temperature. The first temperature starts at 132 degrees, and the last temperature you will see I take out at 152 degrees, and it took me a total of 40 minutes, y'all. I feel like it would have taken a lot less had the bird not been a little bit big, but it still worked out. It was so juicy. It was so good. Here is the leg that was basted versus the leg that wasn't. The leg that was basted is on the top, and the leg that wasn't is on the bottom. And the leg that was basted was much juicier than the leg that wasn't. I mean, like substantially juicier. than the wag that wasn't bedded, and it was much darker in color. The one on the bottom, as you can tell, you can see it in the bottom of the leg, just does not have as brown a color as the one on the top. It just didn't hold its moisture in like the one that was basted did, and it was much better, the one that was basted versus the one that wasn't. It was much drier, the one that wasn't basted. So thanks, guys.